Hi friends, Kiele here, and this is an entry for my video journal. The thing I'm thinking about right now is a conversation that Alex and I had earlier today. And he was telling me about a conversation that I don't remember him telling me about when it occurred. Apparently it's been a while. But anyway, he was talking to a colleague of mine. So this is another attorney. And she was very interested in knowing more about, or she was very like kind of fixated apparently on my dismissal rate, right? So I have this awesome rate over a 6-year period that we looked at the numbers, and I forget what the exact dates were, but it was from the time that I stopped accepting court appointed work up until the point that Alex pulled all the numbers, which is actually kind of an involved project for reasons that are probably outside of the scope of this conversation. So, he pulled all those numbers and figured out what my dismissal rate was over, and that was a 6-year period. And it turned out to be 97%, which even I knew I got a lot of dismissals, but even I was surprised by the actual number because that's incredibly high. So once we did that, we started using that information in some of our marketing material on the website, et cetera. Of course, it's something to be proud of. And apparently this attorney had seen some of that, and she was asking him, and I didn't ask him where he ran into her or, what the context was, but basically the question that she had was, does Kiele discourage clients from getting expunctions in order to increase those numbers? Which I was kind of shocked by the question. I mean, because it's sad. Okay. There's a few things that are sad about that. First of all, let me answer that question. And, he said he did answer the question for her. And the answer is hell no, or even fuck no. Oh my God. OMG. Because I mean, a few things. Okay. First of all, I personally believe that it would be like the height of being an unethical attorney to fail to advise, encourage, even push your clients to get an expunction when they're eligible for an expunction. For those of you who aren't familiar with that word, an expunction is the process where after you get a dismissal, or maybe your case was declined, like you're arrested, but then when the prosecuting agency reviewed the case to determine whether or not they were going to go forward, they decided not to continue. So they'd actually declined prosecution, which is really a terrific result. Or if you go all the way to trial and have a jury trial, try the case to conclusion, and a jury finds you not guilty, that means you're acquitted. Under those circumstances, any of those three circumstances, then you are entitled to have an expunction. Under most circumstances, there are some specific and somewhat rare exceptions. And the other situation I forgot to mention is on a felony case. If you're arrested, and then in order to go forward on the case, the prosecuting agency has to actually present your case to a grand jury, and the grand jury has to vote on whether or not to file formal charges or to no bill the case, is what it's called, when they decide not to pursue charges. So if your case is no bill, that's the fourth situation, which is similar to a prosecuting agency deciding, to decline prosecution. Anyway, long story there. And what I'm really trying to get at here is look, when a client gets a dismissal or any other, similar result, that's a really fantastic result. Okay. But it's not yet the best possible result, because the arrest records and the court records and all of that stuff still exists out there, right? So the person's criminal history will show that they were arrested. The county or district clerk's office will have, all of the records that were filed with the court. And there's, typically in an expunction in Texas, at least, or, Travis County, Texas, there are often like 8 or more agencies involved that may have records relating to that case that need to be cleaned up. And so, that final step is one that's really important. And I actually really, really strongly encourage clients to follow through on getting that case expunged as soon as they are able. There is a waiting period. There's all kinds of things they have to know about that. And we start talking to clients about expunction eligibility usually at the beginning of their criminal case. I mean, we don't focus on it heavily because it's not yet been determined for sure their case is going to get dismissed, is going to be dismissed. However, I always want them to be thinking about, when the criminal case is over, if we do get that great result, that there still is another big step that they're going to have to take. And, it does cost money and it takes time. And it's actually the opposite of what this attorney was, suspicious of, I guess. I am usually a little frustrated by how many clients don't take that final step. I feel like, look, we went through all of this effort to get the best possible result. And, the first part is the hardest and it's the most expensive and all that. In other words, getting the dismissal. And so I feel like it's just one, additional, much smaller, less expensive step, that's necessary to really make the most of my great work. So I've done all kinds of things. I mean, follow-up calls. I created a special savings plan for clients where they can kind of use this like a piggy bank to save up for the expunction if they, I mean, the thing is, once the urgency is over, some people, feel like, well, it's, I've got other things I want to spend my money on. And so they don't get the expunction done. So a lot of our clients do, especially now that I have that expunction savings plan for them. But there's still, to me, a surprising number of people who never follow through on that final step and get the expunction. So that was the first part. The second part is for it to be that surprising to another attorney that you actually can get those kind of results without cheating, without lying, that sort of thing. That makes me sad, because I tend to believe and assume that, the attorneys out there are making a choice, that they just are choosing not to do all the things that I do in order to get the best possible results, either because they're not charging their clients enough money to really make it possible, or because they just don't feel like spending the time or effort, or whatever the reasons are. And so clearly that's not necessarily true. If this attorney is like just not even able to comprehend why I'm able to get those kinds of results. So that was really kind of mind-boggling to me. And it has me thinking that maybe what I need to do next in terms of my social media content is to create, or maybe it's not social media content, maybe it's a workshop or something for other attorneys. I just recently did one on the mindset coaching end for attorney moms called Mindset Mastery 101. And maybe I can come up with some kind of similar, like 1 hour, Zoom workshop where I don't know what to call it, like, I don't know, dismissals 101 or something. It's not just, I mean, I can speak to dismissals generally because a lot of that time frame I wasn't yet narrowly focused as I am now on domestic assault defense. And so everything I do applies just as much to a DWI case or a burglary of a habitation case or, whatever. But of course, I'm especially these days, even my wheelhouse is the domestic assault cases. So I don't know, it's just an idea that's kind of rattling around my brain now and thinking, well, maybe what I need to do is get out there and start teaching other attorneys how, outside of my firm, not just members of my team, how to do what I do. For me, it's this stuff it's not rocket science, and so I've never really considered it something that is hard or counterintuitive or whatever, but maybe it is, maybe it would be beneficial for me to get out there and actually, share what I know and what I do and what my process is. Anyway, those are my thoughts for now. This is a much longer video than I normally do. And also I'm trying something new and different. I just logged on to Zoom and hit record. And then I'm probably going to upload this to YouTube instead of normally I just, grab my camera and I may or may not set up my tripod to make it still. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.